The Premier League returned with a lot of great action after the international break. Some of our predictions went completely down the drain, especially when it comes to Liverpool and Manchester United. We'll get to that, but we wanted to talk about some talking points that caught our attention. And we started off with Jhon Duran doing it again. Chelsea were linked with the Duran. He scored an absolutely insane goal against Everton to give Aston Villa the win miles out from the box. Nobody expected him to shoot, and he did it, and it was insane. It was like one of those old goals that you would see in the early 2000s when somebody just smashed it in from out of nowhere, like a Lampard or even the Drogba goal. I think against Everton, it was a long time back. So yeah, Rohit, Jhon Duran,
Yeah,
you guys missed
he
someone.
has a he has a rocket of a left foot, right? So a couple of interesting thing about Jhon Duran. He scored 3 goals this season till now, and only in about 107 minutes of play because he's come on as a substitute. And if I'm not wrong, all three of those goals have been match winners, like this one as well. It was tied at 2-2. Everton took a 2-0 lead, and as usual, they gave it away. And then Jhon Duran out of nowhere, and I think everybody is tipping him to be, the next big striker, right? And I think he does have the tools. We've talked about this before. So that was definitely one of the major talking points, Jhon Duran's unstoppable goal.
So if he continues playing like this, he won't stay at Villa for long.
Yeah.
What about Everton? Because we spoke about them if possibly losing this match could be the end of Sean Dyche. They're up 2-0 again. This time really early on again, and they just cannot hold on to leads. They can't do anything. I do fear for Everton now. Like this is bad.
Yeah. I think, even when they took the 2-0 lead, when I was watching, I could see that they didn't really trust themselves to maintain that lead. You could see that, it was just only a matter of, Villa getting one goal back, and then eventually you knew that these guys are going to lose. That goal from Duran was pretty insane, of course, but they also had many chances after that, which Aston Villa could have, extended their lead. So Everton, for me, it's personally all doom and gloom right now.
Wow. Quickly moving on to Everton's rivals, Liverpool, who also were a little down, I think, after their match. So we spoke about them facing Nottingham Forest, how it was going to be an easy fixture. They're going to
Mhm.
run through these next five fixtures and pick up 15 points, 13 points, whatever, be unbeaten. And Forest undid them. They had so what I will say is that Liverpool did look off color. A lot of the passes were misplaced in the final third. I think players just weren't on the same wavelength. But credit to Forest, they had a really good game plan. They nullified our attack very well, and the substitutes that Nuno made really made the difference. With I think it was Hudson-Odoi, right, who came in. Yeah,
Yep.
Hudson-Odoi, and his finish was absolutely
Mhm.
like special. Like Allison could not do anything about it. So I think a lot of attention has gone towards Liverpool saying that they were bad, but I think equal attention should go towards Forest. They were really good, and they are unbeaten after 4 games, 2 wins and two
Yeah.
draws, which is a pretty good return.
Yeah. We didn't see this coming at all, right? Especially at Anfield. I thought, and we all thought that Liverpool is going to win, especially because of the start they've had. The interesting thing about Hudson-Odoi, right? No matter who does well in the Premier League, a Chelsea fan somewhere feels the pain.
Yeah,
I
you've got
think
100 players every
yeah.
season, so obviously.
No, but he's a Cobham product. He's a Chelsea product. We just sold him for like 3 million pounds or peanuts, and he's been playing really well. He played, a decent few games last season, and his form was on the up. And like you said, it was an amazing goal, right? Cut in and basically it hit the side netting almost from the inside, and it went in almost unstoppable. And on the other hand, we have Mikhailo Mudryk for like 70 million pounds, not getting any game time, but very, very surprising. Do you think, all that international travel had anything to do with it? The fact that more Liverpool players would have gone out to travel and play internationals?
I think that did play a part in this, but it's in hindsight to bring this up because Arne Slot would have known that your Mohamed
Mhm.
Salah would have gone, your Solankis would have, Szoboszlais would have gone, etc. So he should have prepared for this. I was a little surprised because we went with the same lineup that played against Manchester United. I thought there would be some changes. So this is a good learning curve for Slot, I believe, because he has to understand that the Premier League is not the same as the Eredivisie. the competition is much more difficult here. I'm sure I don't think he underestimated the opposition. I think the players just weren't up for it for whatever reason
Mm.
that is. Slot's comments also after the match might be seen as a little disrespectful because he said, you should not be dropping points against Forest at home, or you should not be losing to Forest at home. Um, yeah, you can say that.
Yeah.
So he's Dutch. He's very frank. He's to the point. But then again,
Yeah.
it's Forest. I think any team in the Premier League can beat any team, maybe apart from Manchester
That I
City
agree with
and
that. Yeah.
Arsenal. So you can't just say that. So I think he should have given a little bit more credit to Forest for what they did. Uh, we'll see how Liverpool do in the next match. It's AC Milan in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Moving on, we've got Chelsea. They picked up a win at Bournemouth. I don't
Yeah.
know if all of us saw that coming also. A 1-0 win. Bournemouth did have the chances, but I think Chelsea did a pretty good job. Jadon Sancho got an assist, new signing and all. So, and Roberto Sanchez also made a penalty save, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Three talking points for me from that game, right? Chelsea won that great in the first half, of course, right? And then, a penalty was given away, and Roberto Sanchez made a great save. He actually had a really good game. So, some positives coming out from the goalkeeping position. An interesting thing they asked Robert Sanchez after the game, how did you manage to stop that penalty? And it goes to show how much research goes on because he's like, I knew what Evanilson, the penalty taker, does, right? He waits for the goalkeeper to commit, and then whichever side the goalkeeper commits, he puts it on the other side. But if the goalkeeper doesn't commit till the last moment, he always kicks to the left of the keeper. And so I knew that all I had to do was not commit, and Robert Sanchez is a big guy, and then dive to his left, and it was a pretty good save. And he had a good game overall. The second one, like you rightly pointed out, Sancho, he got an assist, but he also got a man of the match performance, only having come on, after halftime. So, all that transfer, when the transfer happened, obviously there were a lot of question marks. Do Chelsea need another attacking player? Will Sancho succeed? Because he's had all these issues with Eric Ten Hag and all of these things. But he did add something very different to Chelsea, a winger who can really see a pass, who can retain possession, who's threatening every time, connects with his teammates. That's something we didn't have. So that was definitely a positive. And the third thing that I wanted to point out about Chelsea was Renato Vega. He's this young, Portuguese player that we got from Basel. He's a left-footed player, so Maresca kept him because he can play left back, but he can also invert and play in the midfield. But in this game, he started right next to Caicedo in midfield because all our midfielders were either injured or sick. And in the first half, he did have a little bit of trouble getting used to the pace of the game, but in the second half, he really grew into the game and he had the physicality that the rest of the Chelsea midfielders lack. So I wouldn't be surprised if he actually started getting more game time above some of the more established names in midfield going forward.
Wow. So that's interesting. I had no idea about this player. So maybe Chelsea did find a decent player from all of these hundreds that they've bought for
Yeah.
the midfield. So
Fingers crossed.
yeah, yeah. So ahead of Enzo, maybe ahead of Lavia. I don't know. Maybe.
Possible because
Yeah.
this guy has the physicality that those other folks lack, right? Especially against a more physical team where you need to win more tackles, win more headers. I think I would pick him for sure, and I think Maresca is a smart man. He might do the same.
Yeah. So he could be the one who unlocks Jadon Sancho's potential post Dortmund. I know he's had a troubling time in United. So maybe this could work out for him. You never know. Moving on
Agreed.
quickly, we have Manchester United next. We expected them to actually lose at Southampton, but they came out with a win.
You, not
Okay,
me.
sorry, me. I was hoping for it, but it didn't happen. So that's another of our predictions that went down the drain. United didn't start off that well. They gave away a penalty. But credit to Onana, he did make a decent save, although the penalty wasn't really placed in the corner. But after that, it was all United. I think
Mhm.
Delight opened the scoring. Garnacho also scored. The Saints had a player sent off. United looked decent. They seemed to have a game plan and all. And I don't know. Maybe Eric Ten Hag's found something, or maybe what he did find was actually clicking into place. It didn't click against Liverpool. It might have clicked now.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the goals; they were pretty good, and I think, yeah, right, overall, I think Man United just had more quality than Southampton. But the interesting thing there was, I don't know if you noticed, Garnacho scored the third goal, and he normally starts, right? He started against Liverpool, but he got dropped this time. And
Yeah.
the rumor was he got dropped because he liked a post by Fabrizio Romano where Ronaldo was basically criticizing Ten Hag, and Garnacho, being the Ronaldo fan, went and liked the post. But of course, that would have pissed off Ten Hag, right? And they said that it was for tactical reasons that he got dropped, but then he came on and he scored. So there's always some drama with Man United as well. That Ronaldo Ten Hag rivalry never seems to die.
I think Ronaldo's coming back to United and he's going to be the manager after Ten Hag. It has to be. It's written in the stars. He's going to lead them to a PL title or something. I
Oh
hope
man.
not. I hope not. But I want him to be back in the Premier League. It was fun. Like he's always making comments and all. So we'll see. Maybe some relegated side needs a striker or something. I don't know. And our final talking point, the fifth one, was Arsenal's 1-0 laboured win over Spurs. There was a lot of talk about Arsenal and how this is Mikel Arteta's toughest test as Arsenal manager, which I find hard to believe. Simply because he had a few players missing. Declan Rice was missing. I think a defender or two, Calafiori was obviously injured, and they were supposed to struggle against Spurs. It did not come out like that. I think Arsenal were very compact. They had 10 men behind the ball most of the time and
Park the bus.
park the bus, get four center backs in. I'm sounding like Borat. And then you have this thing, a corner coming set piece. Gabriel is left more or less wide open. I don't know what Romero was doing. He didn't basically cover the man. He was
Kind
just
of pushed him a little bit, which yeah,
yeah, I don't think that was that big of a push. You expect such
agreed.
contact in the box, right? So, and he just, nodded in a beautiful header, I must say. And that's it. And they shut up shop. They were hitting on the counters. So, Arsenal get that. Then the one thing that I found a little upsetting, or not upsetting, but a little surprising with Spurs is the attack. You've got Son, you've got Brennan Johnson, you've got Dominic Solanke. And the wingers just could not get that final ball in. I know Brennan Johnson was terrible. So, Spurs had so much possession in the final third. But that final pass, that cross into the box was missing. I
Mhm.
remember seeing so many crosses go in, and they were all reaching the Arsenal player first. And there was only one player in the box. It was just Solanke. So I think Spurs blew a chance. I think they had a chance to really do something to against Arsenal, but they just weren't up for it.
Yeah, yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head, right? When it comes to Spurs, I think they haven't really moved the needle that much with some of their signings. I don't really know. Dom Solanke had an okayish game, but he's not somebody who will win a big game single-handedly, right? He needs service. And like you said, Brendan Johnson, I don't think he has the end product. I think when Odegaard came on, the new winger, he was actually more dynamic. He created more chances. But then again, I think, Spurs are probably, a notch below the top teams for sure. No matter what Ange says, I think Ange went and said, I always win something in my second year or some nonsense like that. I don't know why you put pressure on yourself, but I guess that's
He's at
just
Spurs.
what
Why would you say that at Spurs? They've never won anything. They've never won
exactly.
anything
Yeah,
in years. Like, that's
yeah,
insane. He wants to get sacked, I
yeah,
think. I think he's also tired of Spurs.
yeah. I totally agree. And then, the goal was interesting, right? It just told me that Arsenal obviously have figured out more than one way to win a game, right? They can park a bus when needed and, get one of those set piece goals because they're really good at set pieces. And I think Gabriel, like you said, he was very smart, right? The nudge that he did give Romero was a very kind of subtle one. It wasn't
Yeah.
very overt. So I think they did a good job in coming out with a win without Rice, without Odegaard, and so many other people. Was pretty good. And the other thing I saw was Sterling, right? He hasn't really changed. He tries to dribble and finally gets tackled. So a little bit of that also gave me some pleasure, some happiness there as well. But overall, I think it bodes well for us.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think Arsenal did a pretty decent job. I think a lot of people expected them to drop points here, and they're now second in the table. I think it's obviously Manchester City first, and then we have Arsenal, and surprise, surprise, it's Newcastle. So this is not a talking point, but it's very interesting to see Newcastle in third. They're unbeaten also in the Premier League so far. Maybe next week we'll have something to talk about them. But until then, it's goodbye from us. Take care. Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah.
One more thing I forgot to talk about Jhon Duran because I found this very interesting, right?
Uh,
So Jhon Duran's, per 90 minutes, stats for non-penalty goals is in the 99th percentile. It's
oh,
even greater
wow.
than Haaland. Haaland is 96th because he doesn't get that many minutes.
Mhm.
But the interesting thing is his XG, which is expected goals, is only 56th percentile. So
Oh,
he's
wow.
way overperforming his XG, just like scoring like screamers like that, right? So that was a very interesting thing for me. Whereas, if you look at Haaland, his XG is somewhere around 99. So he's pretty much getting high quality chances and he's putting them away. But this Jhon Duran guy, I mean, if he keeps performing like this, like he's destined for the top. Okay, I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
So lots of pressure on Jhon Duran now because we've compared him to Haaland, which means next week he's not going to score any goals and probably going to get sent off. That's our curse.
Possible,
Yeah.
given my record.
So until next time, yeah, do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. It helps us a lot. 98% of all those who watch our videos are not subscribed. So please do subscribe. And until next time, take care and we'll see you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.